Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. Humans, the ultimate war machines of the universe. Dr. Hannah Park adjusted her telescope lenses in the quiet control room of Dijan Observatory. The midnight air felt still and expectant as she worked through the large windows. The night sky stretched black and infinite, studded with familiar stars. Her colleague, Dr. Jin Kim, sat nearby reviewing data logs on his tablet, the blue glow illuminating his tired face. "I'm seeing unusual readings from Sector 4, Hannah said, frowning at her screen. "Can you check if our satellite feed is malfunctioning?" Jin tapped at his tablet, then shook his head. "All systems normal. What kind of readings?" Before Hannah could answer, the dark sky outside erupted with light. Brilliant colors, purples, blues, and golds, that had no place in Earth's atmosphere rippled across the heavens like an impossible aurora. The light display moved with purpose, centering directly above their observatory. Jin's coffee mug froze halfway to his lips. "Are you seeing this?" he whispered, his voice barely audible. Hannah stood slowly, her hand reaching blindly for the camera controls. "Recording all feeds," she managed to say as the spectacle intensified. Through the cascading lights, solid shapes emerged. 3 vessels, each the size of a small city, descended through Earth's atmosphere. Their geometry seemed wrong somehow. Angles that shouldn't exist. Surfaces that appeared both solid and fluid simultaneously. The laws of physics that had governed human understanding of the universe for centuries seemed to bend around these impossible ships. "Call the director," Jin said, never taking his eyes off the window. "Call everyone." Within an hour, the observatory parking lot filled with government vehicles. Military helicopters circled overhead. Hannah and Jin found themselves sequestered in a small conference room, replaying their recordings for grim-faced officials. "And you made first visual contact?" a stern woman from the National Intelligence Service asked. "Yes," Hannah replied, "but they must have been detected by space monitoring stations before we saw them." The door opened, and a man in military uniform entered. The others straightened noticeably. "Commander Dali, Korean Military Intelligence," he introduced himself, studying their footage with intense focus. "Have they attempted communication?" As if answering this question, every electronic device in the room, phones, tablets, computers, simultaneously displayed the same message in perfect Korean. "We come in peace. Prepare a diplomatic reception. Coordinates to follow." Similar messages appeared worldwide in local languages. Within hours, Earth's nations cobbled together a hasty diplomatic team at the provided coordinates, a field outside Geneva. News helicopters circled as sleek shuttle craft descended from the larger vessels still hovering in the stratosphere. Hannah and Jin watched the live broadcast from their observatory, now converted to a temporary military outpost. Commander Lee stood behind them, arms crossed. "They look almost human," Jin observed as the camera zoomed in on the aliens emerging from their shuttle. The beings walked upright on 2 legs, stood approximately human height with 2 arms and a head, but their skin shimmered with subtle iridescence. Their eyes were larger and set wider apart, and they moved with uncanny grace, as if gravity affected them differently. The alien at the front approached the human delegation. Its mouth didn't move in sync with the words that projected from a small device at its throat. "I am Ambassador Trell of the Galactic Confederation. We come in peace to welcome Earth into the galactic community." The broadcast continued, showing the carefully orchestrated first meeting. Handshakes were exchanged, gifts presented, words of friendship offered. "They're being careful," Commander Lee noted. His eyes narrowed, "too careful." "They crossed interstellar space," Hannah replied. "Of course they're careful with a new species." Lee shook his head. "No, they're afraid." 2 days later, Hannah and Jin found themselves summoned to a secure government facility. Their expertise as astronomers made them valuable consultants. They sat in a dimly lit room with military and intelligence officials, watching leaked footage from inside the alien mother ship, captured by surveillance devices hidden in the diplomatic gifts. On screen, Ambassador Trell spoke with other aliens in their native tongue, now translated by Earth's best computers. Their true conference, away from human eyes, told a different story than their public diplomatic face. "These humans concern me," Trell told his council. "Their history archives are disturbing. Their entire civilization is built upon conquest and warfare." Another alien, dressed in what seemed to be scientific garb, gestured to biological displays showing human anatomy. "Their physical resilience is alarming. Their bodies can withstand trauma that would kill most sentient species. They continue fighting despite injuries that should incapacitate them." "Their entertainment glorifies violence," added another, displaying images from human films and games. "They simulate warfare for pleasure. Many of their children's stories involve conflict and combat. Even their manner of eating is aggressive," noted one with visible disgust. "They consume the flesh of other creatures. Many even preference their food partially uncooked." Commander Lee watched the footage with grim satisfaction. "See, they're afraid of us." Jin looked troubled. "Perhaps with good reason. We have a violent history." "All species fight for survival," Hannah argued. "We can't be that different." Another section of footage played. A different group of aliens, wearing what appeared to be military insignia, gathered in a secured chamber aboard the mother ship. "The Confederation Council is being short-sighted," said the apparent leader. "These humans could be exactly what we need. Their primitive technology makes them no threat to us," another agreed. "But their natural aggression could be useful. The coming storm approaches from the outer rim. The hegemony grows stronger. Imagine if we could harness these humans for the coming conflict." The leader continued, studying displays of Earth's military history, their unpredictability, their tenacity in battle. "They continue fighting long after rational species would surrender." "Would they fight for us willingly?" asked a skeptical voice. The leader made a gesture that translated to something between a smile and a grimace. "They need not know the full scope of our intentions. We offer them technology, protection, membership in our confederation. In return, they provide security services." The recording ended and the lights came up. The room remained silent for several long moments. "They see us as weapons," Hannah said finally, her voice hollow. Commander Lee nodded. "And potential threats. This changes our approach entirely." "What do we do?" Jin asked. "We prepare," Lee answered simply. "We learn everything we can about these aliens, this confederation, and the enemy they fear. We accept their gifts of technology, but watch for their true motives." As they left the secure room, Hannah looked up at the night sky, now permanently changed by the presence of the alien vessels in orbit. The stars no longer seemed like distant, benign lights. The universe had suddenly become both smaller and more dangerous. "They came looking for allies," she murmured, "but they found warriors instead." 5 years had passed since the Galactic Confederation made first contact with Earth. Commander DeLee stood at the window of his office in Seoul, watching rain streak down the glass. Behind him, profiles of soldiers displayed on his wall screen. The best Earth had to offer. The peaceful integration promised by the aliens had gradually shifted. First came technology exchanges, then joint scientific missions, and finally what the Confederation called security cooperation. Today marked a new phase: direct military recruitment. DeLee turned as his assistant announced the arrival of his first candidate. Jiun Park entered the room with measured steps. His military posture remained perfect despite having left Special Forces 3 years ago. His face showed little emotion, but his eyes missed nothing as they scanned the room. "Thank you for coming," DeLee said, gesturing to a chair. Jiun remained standing. "Your message said this was a matter of planetary security." DeLee nodded and activated a holographic display, technology gifted by the Confederation. It showed star systems at the galaxy's edge, several marked with red warning symbols. "What the Confederation didn't tell us during first contact is that they're at war," DeLee explained. "An entity they call the Void Hegemony is advancing through the outer rim, consuming worlds." Jiun studied the display. "And now they want our help. They're recruiting soldiers from Earth for what they call a peacekeeping initiative." You'll be among the first humans to fight alongside the Confederation, Dali confirmed. Jian's expression remained neutral. Why us? Their technology is centuries beyond ours. Their ships can cross galaxies. What could they possibly need from human soldiers? Dali smiled thinly. Because we terrify them. He played a classified video showing human soldiers in training exercises, observed by Confederation scientists. The aliens' monitors displayed human vital signs during extreme stress scenarios. They've studied us for 5 years, Dali continued. They found that humans have unique combat capabilities. We continue fighting with broken bones through blood loss that would incapacitate their soldiers. We adapt to new weapons instantly. We improvise when plans fail. He paused. We do things they consider impossible. Jian watched the footage in silence. And you want me to join this alien army? I want you to lead Earth's first combat unit in the Confederation forces, Dali corrected. 23 soldiers are being recruited. You'll train on their vessels, learn their technology, and represent humanity among the stars. To fight someone else's war, Jian noted. Today it's their war, Dali replied. Tomorrow it could be ours. 3 weeks later, Jian found himself aboard the Confederation training vessel Luminous Accord, orbiting Jupiter. The ship's curved corridors and oddly angled rooms made human occupants slightly dizzy. The gravity felt wrong, slightly too light. Even the air tasted different, processed through alien filtration systems. In the ship's central hub, Jian met his squad for the first time. Mina Song, a former tactical specialist with Korean intelligence, approached him first. Her handshake was firm, her gaze direct. Captain Park, she greeted him. I studied your record, impressive. As is yours, he replied. Your work in counterterrorism strategic planning changed field protocols. Tahan joined them next, his broad shoulders and scarred hands marking him as the demolitions expert mentioned in the briefing files. He nodded respectfully but said little. The rest of the team gathered, 20 other elite fighters from across Earth. Russian Special Forces operators, American Navy SEALs, British SAS, Israeli commandos, Chinese mountain warfare experts, Brazilian jungle fighters, the best Earth had to offer. Their alien instructor entered, causing conversation to halt. General Voss stood nearly 7 feet tall, with the same iridescent skin as other Confederation species, but more heavily muscled. 4 eyes blinked independently as he surveyed the humans. Welcome aboard the Luminous Accord, he said, his translation device making his voice sound flat and artificial. You are the first human combat unit to join Confederation forces. Your training begins immediately. The following days blurred into a grueling routine. The humans learned to use Confederation weapons, energy rifles that seemed to bond with their users, responsive armor that enhanced strength and speed, communication devices that translated thought directly to speech. But it was the combat simulations that revealed the true reason humans had been recruited. On the 5th day, the squad faced their first major training scenario. The simulation room transformed into an alien landscape. Red sand, 2 pale suns overhead, jagged rock formations creating a maze-like battlefield. Your objective is to reach the command center and extract the target, General Voss explained. This scenario is designed to assess your combat capabilities. What he didn't say, but what Jian immediately suspected, was that the scenario was designed to be impossible. As soon as they entered the simulation field, enemy fire rained down from hidden positions. 3 squad members went down in the first minute, their suits registering fatal hits that temporarily paralyzed them. Spread out, Jian ordered. Mina analyzed their fire patterns. T, we need cover. The remaining team scattered behind rock formations. Mina worked quickly, her eyes tracking enemy positions. They're using automated defense systems, she reported. Fixed positions, predictable firing sequences. Tahan studied the terrain, then grinned. The sand, it's silica-based. He grabbed his pack, mixing compounds with frightening speed. Give me covering fire in 30 seconds. When the makeshift explosives detonated, they melted the sand into glass walls, creating new cover where none had existed. The team leapfrogged forward, using the transformed terrain to advance. In the observation room, General Voss watched with his command staff, their expressions showing alarm. "They're adapting the environment," one officer noted. "The scenario doesn't account for this approach." "Increase difficulty," Voss ordered. The simulation responded, adding aerial attackers and changing the terrain. But for each new challenge, the humans found unexpected solutions. When surrounded, they didn't surrender but instead created distractions and broke through enemy lines. When their primary weapons were disabled, they improvised melee weapons from the environment. Mina identified patterns in enemy movements that the simulation's programmers had assumed were too subtle to detect. Tahan converted standard equipment into improvised explosives, and Jiun led with a calm intensity, making split-second decisions that seemed reckless but somehow worked. When the simulation finally ended, the humans had completed a course that Confederation instructors used as an example of an unwinnable scenario. General Voss met with his superiors afterward, visibly disturbed. "They don't surrender," he reported, reviewing the footage. "When our soldiers would calculate the odds and make a tactical withdrawal, humans push forward. They adapt instantly. They endure pain that would incapacitate our soldiers. They improvise weapons from the environment itself." The commanding admiral studied the humans through the observation window as they celebrated their victory. "Are they as dangerous as the initial reports suggested?" "More so," Voss replied. "In many ways, they are the perfect soldiers, but they are unpredictable, uncontrollable." "Then we must ensure they fight for us, not against us," the admiral decided. "Accelerate production of the specialized battle armor. It must enhance their natural capabilities while incorporating fail-safes." Voss looked troubled. "The humans may detect the control mechanisms." "They must not," the admiral said firmly. "The void hegemony advances. We need these war creatures, but our own troops must be protected from their savage allies should they turn on us." Back in the human quarters, Jiun gathered his team. Though tired, their eyes shone with the satisfaction of overcoming impossible odds. "They're testing our limits," he told them quietly, "and they're afraid of what they're seeing." Mina nodded. "The simulation was rigged to fail. They wanted to see how we'd handle defeat. Instead, we showed them something they don't understand." "Humans don't accept no-win scenarios," Tahan added. Jiun looked each squad member in the eye. "Remember why we're here. We represent Earth now. Whatever they're preparing us for, whatever this hegemony threat truly is, we need to be ready." "Not just for their war," Mina added softly, "but for whatever they're not telling us." The emergency alarm blared through the Confederation carrier Steadfast Dawn. Red warning lights flashed as soldiers rushed to battle stations. Jiun Park sprinted down the corridor toward the deployment bay, his squad close behind. "Distress signal from Aerodani 7, the ship's AI announced. "Hegemony forces detected. All combat units prepare for immediate deployment." Aerodani 7 was a mining colony, home to 15,000 civilians. It was also strategically vital. Its rare mineral deposits fueled Confederation ships. The hegemony had finally struck a major target after months of border skirmishes. Captain Yuna Choi waited at the drop ship, checking her battle armor. Her face showed no emotion, but Jiun noticed her fingers tapping a rhythm against her leg, a nervous habit she'd developed during training. "First real combat," Jiun said as he approached. Yuna nodded. 3 human squads deploying alongside Confederation regulars. High Command is watching this mission closely to see if their human weapons perform as expected." Mina added, joining them. Her tactical display visor already glowed with battlefield projections. Tahan arrived last, his equipment pack bulging with additional tools and materials. "If we're fighting on a mining colony, I needed extras," he explained when Yuna raised an eyebrow. Inside the dropship, 20 human soldiers strapped in. Through the viewports, they could see other vessels loading with Confederation troops, tall, iridescent beings wearing advanced armor that seemed to flow like liquid around their bodies. The ship's engines roared to life. As they pulled away from the carrier, Yuna stood to address the team. Remember the protocols, she reminded them. We're representing Earth. The Confederation has specific combat doctrines. We follow their command structure. We use authorized weapons only. She paused. But we do what we need to survive. The dropship plummeted through the atmosphere. Outside the viewports, the sky turned orange with fire. The ship shook violently as anti-aircraft fire exploded around them. Evasive maneuvers, the pilot called. Hegemony forces have orbital control. Landing zone is hot. Through the chaos, Jian studied the tactical display. The colony sprawled across a valley surrounded by jagged mountains. Hegemony forces, marked as red icons, had already penetrated the main settlement. Confederation defenders were retreating toward the central mining complex. They're being overwhelmed, Mina observed. Confederation troops are falling back by the book, orderly retreat, defensive positions, and losing ground with every step. The dropship landed hard, its landing struts groaning under the impact. The ramp lowered, and noise flooded in, weapons fire, explosions, the strange high-pitched sound of hegemony energy weapons. Move out, Yuna ordered. The humans charged down the ramp into chaos. The landing zone was a wide plaza, now cratered with bomb damage. Confederation troops had formed a defensive line behind makeshift barriers, firing at advancing hegemony forces. For the first time, Jian saw their enemy clearly. The hegemony soldiers moved with insect-like precision, their armor black and angular. Their weapons fired streams of purple energy that melted anything they touched. A Confederation commander spotted the humans and approached rapidly. Human unit, join the defensive line. We are executing Protocol 7, orderly withdrawal to preserve forces. Yuna acknowledged the order, but Jian caught her eye. They had studied Protocol 7 during training, a by-the-book retreat that would sacrifice the colony to save the troops. Request permission to split our forces, Jian said quickly. We can flank their advance while you maintain the defense. The commander's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of confusion or concern. Negative. Our tactical simulations show a 92% casualty rate for flanking maneuvers against superior forces. Jian stepped closer. With respect, Commander, your simulations didn't account for human tactics. Before the commander could respond, a massive explosion rocked the plaza. A section of the defensive line collapsed, and hegemony troops poured through the gap. We're out of time, Jian told Yuna. Your call, Captain. Yuna made her decision. Squad 1 with me on the main defense, Squad 2 with Lieutenant Park, do what humans do best. The commander started to protest, but Yuna had already turned away, leading half the human soldiers to reinforce the crumbling line. Jian gathered his team, Mina, Tahan, and 7 others. We're going hunting. Mina, find us a path through the service tunnels. T, I need chaos. While Yuna's squad joined the conventional battle, Jian's team slipped away. Using Mina's knowledge of colony layouts, they entered maintenance tunnels that ran beneath the settlement. The hegemony's advancing in standard conquest formation, Mina explained as they moved. 3-pronged attack with heavy support in the rear. If we can disrupt their command structure, they'll lose coordination. Jian finished. Tahan, what can you work with down here? The demolitions expert grinned in the dim tunnel light. Mining colony means explosives, detonators, and fuel lines. I can work with all of that. They emerged from the tunnels behind enemy lines. From their position, they could see the hegemony command post, a hovering platform surrounded by guards. That's their tactical coordinator, Mina whispered, pointing to a taller figure directing troops with precise gestures. Jian divided his small team. 3 objectives. Mina takes out communications, Tahan creates a diversion, I'll lead the strike team to eliminate command. The Confederation would never approve such a rigged plan. Their combat doctrines, developed over millennia, emphasized overwhelming force and minimal casualties. This human approach, small teams, high-risk improvised weapons, was alien to them. Tahan disappeared with 2 soldiers, heading toward the colony's fuel storage. Minutes later, a tremendous explosion lit up the sky as storage tanks erupted. As predicted, Hegemony forces redirected to the new threat. Mina's team struck next, using reprogrammed mining drones to crash into communication arrays. Confusion spread through enemy ranks as orders stopped flowing. That's when Jian led his strike team in a direct assault on the command post. The remaining guards, expecting an attack from the front, were unprepared for humans dropping from maintenance hatches above them. The battle was brief and violent. Using Confederation energy weapons augmented with improvised attachments, the humans cut through the surprised hegemony guards. Their battle armor, designed to enhance human strength while protecting alien allies from human aggression, performed beyond expectations. Within an hour, what had been an orderly hegemony conquest turned into disarray. Without central command, their formations broke down. When Jian's team captured their tactical coordinator, the remaining hegemony forces retreated rather than face the unexpected threat. From the colony's defense center, Ambassador Trell's aide watched in shock as battle footage streamed in. She recorded in her log, "The humans didn't just fight. They seemed to transform on the battlefield, becoming something primal. The enemy forces broke formation at the sight of them. Our own troops report that the humans moved with a speed and aggression that defied training parameters. Most disturbing, they appeared to experience positive emotional responses during combat, what they call the thrill of the fight." As the last hegemony ships departed the system, Confederation commanders gathered to review the battle. The humans had saved the colony but violated numerous combat protocols. "They took unnecessary risks," one commander argued. "Their tactics had no logical foundation. Yet they succeeded where our approaches failed," another pointed out, "with minimal casualties." General Voss, who had overseen their training, studied the footage carefully. "They think differently. They see opportunities where we see only obstacles. This is why we recruited them." Back on Earth, Dr. Jin Kim worked late in his laboratory. As a xenobiologist specializing in hegemony research, he had been granted access to communications captured during the battle. He played the recordings again, focusing on one particular exchange. When hegemony forces first spotted the human soldiers, their communications had erupted with a specific term that the translation software struggled to interpret. After hours of linguistic analysis, Jin finally understood. He sent an urgent message to Commander Dali. "I've discovered something in hegemony communications. Their word for human doesn't translate to ally of Confederation or even enemy combatant. Their word for us translates roughly to the Chaos Bringers. They fear us more than they fear the Confederation. They recognize something in us that the Confederation is only beginning to understand." Aboard the Steadfast Dawn, as the human soldiers celebrated their victory, Jian found a quiet moment to call Yuna to his quarters. "The Confederation is watching us differently now," he told her. "Did you see their faces when we returned?" Yuna nodded. "Not just pride in a victory, fear at what they've unleashed." "We need to be careful," Jian said softly. "We're not just soldiers to them, we're weapons." Neither of them noticed the small monitoring device hidden in the room's lighting fixture, transmitting their conversation directly to Confederation High Command. The Confederation War Room hummed with activity as officers studied the massive holographic display. 12 star systems glowed blue, reclaimed from hegemony control. In each, human combat units had been the deciding factor. Commander Jian Park entered the room and conversations quieted. Even after 6 months leading human forces, he still noticed how Confederation officers watched him, a mix of respect, awe, and unease. His battle armor, scarred from dozens of engagements, made him instantly recognizable. "Commander Park," Admiral Vex greeted him with a formal bow. "Your victory at Proxima Station exceeds expectations. The hegemony retreated from the entire sector." Jian nodded politely. "My soldiers did their duty. We lost 7 good people." "Acceptable losses for such strategic gain," the Admiral replied. Jian kept his face neutral, though the casual dismissal of human lives bothered him. The Confederation had grown too comfortable with spending human lives to win their war. Later in his private quarters aboard the flagship Resolute, Jiun met with his inner circle, Captain Yuna Choi, Tactical Specialist Mina Song, and Operations Chief Tahan. The room had been swept for listening devices, and Mina's signal jammer hummed softly in the corner. Earth's political influence has grown exponentially, Mina reported. The Confederation Council has offered us 3 seats, more than any species except the founding races. They need us too much to refuse us now, Tahan added. 10,000 human soldiers have changed the course of a war they fought for centuries.